You're with Mikkel on ApologeticsGuide.com.
Thanks again for being a part of my 6-part course on how to run an accessible apologetics conference. I'm glad you're here. Last session, we kicked off our time together talking about the big picture, planning your event. Well, today we're going to talk about something that can make some ministry leaders a little uncomfortable: money. But it's definitely part of running an apologetics event. So how can we use money to equip believers, to reach out to seekers? How can we use money to engage skeptics, to ultimately grow God's kingdom? Well, that is what we're talking about right now. So join us at the table and let's get started with a session that's all about building the budget. It's lesson number 2 and it's called Show Me the Money.
Creating a budget for this event is going to be one of the things you want to do in the early stages of your planning. And this, I think, is one of the scariest tasks to try to accomplish. So the first question you're going to want to ask is, who's paying for this event? Is your church going to be sponsoring it? Mm-hmm. Are you going to have an organization like Stand to Reason or even Biola or any of the other apologetics organizations out there? Will they help fund this event? Or are you personally, as the conference director, responsible to raise all of the funds that you need to put this conference on? That's a huge question that you need to be asking yourself. Mm-hmm. So if I was in your position, listener, then what I would do is I would approach my church and see if they would be willing to partner with me in this event, because churches are an amazing resource. And so if you can get some financial support for them, that's a great foot in the door, because whatever they're helping pay for, they're certainly supporting. So I would go to a pastor on your staff after you come up with a plan for your apologetics conference and say, would our church be interested in helping sponsor this apologetics conference? And you actually, Mikkel, probably have a lot of insight into that, since that's somewhat what you did at Bridgeway.
Yeah, and I always like to aim high, or in other words, I'll give them a really high number, and I'll just say, worst case scenario, this will cost us, whatever, $10,000.
Right.
And if it comes in at 9 or 8,500, everybody's happy. But if you say, we can squeak by with, just 4,000 on this, and it doesn't happen, it probably won't ever happen again. Right. And so you want to make sure that the church, even if the church is willing to lose money on it, to say, look, we had a great event, it cost us $2,000, it's fine, we accomplished our mission. At least everything's on the table and everybody knows here's what we're committing, right? Other churches will say, no, we can only do this, we actually don't have money for this, we need to break even on this event. So you need to know, what is your goal? Is your goal to break even on the event? Do you need to make money on the event? Or can you actually lose money on the event and still meet your goals for this event?
Sure. And as you're determining your budget, here are some of the things that you're going to want to plan for. First, your major cost is most likely going to be your speaker costs. Now, who are you going to get to come out and speak at this event? And how much do you have budgeted for them? Biola is a fantastic resource in scheduling speakers. So to put a plug in for Biola, if you would like to contact them, then they can help you with understanding how much a speaker might cost for your event, and they can actually put you in contact with people who do these sorts of events all over the nation. So they're a fantastic resource for that. So you have your speaker cost. You have to figure out whether you have any facilities costs. Is your church going to let you do it for free at their venue, or are you going to be paying a school? That's another factor. And then there's some miscellaneous items like marketing, whether your church will allow you to come in and print promotional materials for free, or whether you need to take it to your local Staples Center and print it that way. Those are very different costs. And then a final factor is just, how much will it cost to provide some food?
Yeah.
I know that it's really nice after you've been listening to the teleological argument for an hour to go grab a cup of coffee. If you're planning on having the calm cosmological argument be covered in your first session, definitely prepare for people needing coffee after that. We learned that for sure. So yeah, food is a definite cost that you're going to want to consider when you're coming up with your budget. So those are just some of the items that will go into making your final budget. And something to consider is whether you're going to charge people for this event. If you're going to charge people for the event, then that is definitely a way that you can help cover the costs for your event. So for instance, at Bayside, what we decided to do, we knew early on that we wanted to charge as low as possible a price for our event. So what we did was we determined our speaker costs. We determined some of the other costs like food and promotion that we would have to be paying. And then what we did was we said, we're probably going to get about 700 attendees. That's a really low ball estimate. We just knew we would probably have capacity to reach 1,000, but on a sad day, 700 would show up. So we took our costs and we divided it by the 700, and that gave us the lowest possible price that we could charge per person. So if you want to use that, then you can also add some other expenses on the top of that just to give some flex room in your budget. It's completely up to you what you decide to do. But that's the way we went about it.
And I totally agree with you on going with Biola University as a group that's really has done this a lot, and they will totally take care of you. Biola is really, really good at this. And Dina and I are both Biola people, so put a shout out there for our alma mater.
Absolutely.
Thanks again for joining us. Next time, we'll talk about how you can actually cover all these expenses. But for right now, I want to give you another one-page worksheet from my online Ministry Leaders Toolkit. It's one that's going to help you think through the financial side of running your event. So download the worksheet called Building the Budget right now, and I'll see you next time.